Hello and welcome to day 99 in the Not Alone Today chronological Bible reading plan. Today we are reading Psalms 39, 62, 50, 73, 74, 75, and 76. And we are still in the English Standard Version.
Psalm 39. To the choir master, to Jeduthun, a psalm of David. I said, I will guard my ways, that I may not sin with my tongue. I will guard my mouth with a muzzle, so long as the wicked are in my presence. I was mute and silent. I held my peace to no avail, and my distress grew worse. My heart became hot within me. As I mused, the fire burned. Then I spoke with my tongue.
O Lord, make me know my end and what is the measure of my days. Let me know how fleeting I am. Behold, you have made my days a few handbreadths, and my lifetime is as nothing before you. Surely all mankind stands as a mere breath. Surely a man goes about as a shadow. Surely for nothing they are in turmoil. Man heaps up wealth and does not know who we gather.
And now, O Lord, for what do I wait? My hope is in you. Deliver me from all my transgressions. Do not make me the scorn of the fool. I am mute. I do not open my mouth, for it is you who have done it. Remove your stroke from me. I am spent by the hostility of your hand. When you discipline a man with rebukes for sin, you consume like a moth what is dear to him. Surely all mankind is a mere breath.
Hear my prayer, O Lord, and give ear to my cry. Hold not your peace at my tears, for I am a sojourner with you, a guest like all my fathers. Look away from me that I may smile again, before I depart and am no more.
Psalm 62. To the choir master, according to Jeduthun, a psalm of David. For God alone my soul waits in silence. From him comes my salvation. He alone is my rock and my salvation, my fortress. I shall not be greatly shaken.
How long will all of you attack a man to batter him? Like a leaning wall, a tottering fence? They only plan to thrust him down from his high position. They take pleasure in falsehood. They bless with their mouths, but inwardly they curse.
For God alone, O my soul, wait in silence, for my hope is from him. He only is my rock and my salvation, my fortress. I shall not be shaken. On God rests my salvation and my glory. My mighty rock, my refuge is God.
Trust in him at all times, O people. Pour out your heart before him. God is a refuge for us.
Those of low estate are but a breath. Those of high estate are a delusion. In the balances they go up. They are together lighter than a breath. Put no trust in extortion. Set no vain hopes on robbery. If riches increase, set not your heart on them.
Once God has spoken, twice have I heard this, that power belongs to God, and that to you, O Lord, belongs steadfast love, for you will render to a man according to his work.
Psalm 50, a psalm of Asaph. The mighty one, God the Lord, speaks and summons the earth. From the rising of the sun to its setting, out of Zion, the perfection of beauty, God shines forth.
Our God comes. He does not keep silence. Before him is a devouring fire. Around him a mighty tempest. He calls to the heavens above and to the earth, that he may judge his people. Gather to me, my faithful ones, who made a covenant with me by sacrifice. The heavens declare his righteousness, for God himself is judge.
Hear, O my people, and I will speak. O Israel, I will testify against you. I am God, your God. Not for your sacrifices do I rebuke you. Your burnt offerings are continually before me. I will not accept a bull from your house, or goats from your folds, for every beast of the forest is mine, the cattle on 1,000 hills. I know all the birds of the hills, and all that moves in the field is mine.
If I were hungry, I would not tell you, for the world and its fullness are mine. Do I eat the flesh of bulls or drink the blood of goats? Offer to God a sacrifice of thanksgiving, and perform your vows to the Most High, and call upon me in the day of trouble. I will deliver you, and you shall glorify me.
But to the wicked, God says, what right have you to recite my statutes or take my covenant on your lips? For you hate discipline, and you cast my words behind you. If you see a thief, you are pleased with him, and you keep company with adulterers.
You give your mouth free rein for evil, and your tongue frames deceit. You sit and speak against your brother. You slander your own mother's son. These things you have done, and I have been silent. You thought that I was one like yourself, but now I rebuke you and lay the charge before you.
Mark this then, you will forget God, lest I tear you apart, and there be none to deliver. The one who offers thanksgiving as a sacrifice glorifies me. To one who orders his way rightly, I will show the salvation of God.
Psalm 73, a psalm of Asaph. Truly God is good to Israel, to those who are pure in heart. But as for me, my feet had almost stumbled. My steps had nearly slipped. For I was envious of the arrogant when I saw the prosperity of the wicked.
For they have no pangs until death. Their bodies are fat and sleek. They are not in trouble as others are. They are not stricken like the rest of mankind. Therefore pride is their necklace. Violence covers them like a garment. Their eyes swell out through fatness. Their hearts overflow with follies. They scoff and speak with malice. Loftily they threaten oppression. They set their mouths against the heavens, and their tongues strut through the earth. Therefore his people turn back to them and find no fault in them. And they say, how can God know? Is there knowledge in the Most High? Behold, these are the wicked, always at ease. They increase in riches. All in vain have I kept my heart clean and washed my hands in innocence. For all day long I have been stricken and rebuked every morning. If I had said, I will speak thus, I would have betrayed the generation of your children.
But when I thought how to understand this, it seemed to me a wearisome task, until I went into the sanctuary of God. Then I discerned their end.
Truly you set them in slippery places. You make them fall to ruin. How they are destroyed in a moment, swept away utterly by terrors, like a dream when one awakes. O Lord, when you rouse yourself, you despise them as phantoms. When my soul was embittered, when I was pricked in the heart, I was brutish and ignorant. I was like a beast toward you.
Nevertheless, I am continually with you. You hold my right hand. You guide me with your counsel, and afterward you will receive me to glory. Whom have I in heaven but you? And there is nothing on earth that I desire besides you. My flesh and my heart may fail, but God is the strength of my heart and my portion forever.
For behold, those who are far from you shall perish. You put an end to everyone who is unfaithful to you. But for me, it is good to be near God. I have made the Lord God my refuge, that I may tell of all your works.
Psalm 74, a maskil of Asaph. O God, why do you cast us off forever? Why does your anger smoke against the sheep of your pasture? Remember your congregation which you have purchased of old, which you have redeemed to be the tribe of your heritage. Remember Mount Zion where you have dwelt. Direct your steps to the perpetual ruins. The enemy has destroyed everything in the sanctuary.
Your foes have roared in the midst of your meeting place. They set up their own signs for signs. They were like those who swing axes in a forest of trees, and all its carved woods they broke down with hatchets and hammers. They set your sanctuary on fire. They profaned the dwelling place of your name, bringing it down to the ground. They said to themselves, we will utterly subdue them. They burned all the meeting places of God in the land.
We do not see our signs. There is no longer any prophet, and there is none among us who knows how long. How long, O God, is the foe to scoff? Is the enemy to revile your name forever? Why do you hold back your hand, your right hand? Take it from the fold of your garment and destroy them.
Yet God my King is from of old, working salvation in the midst of the earth. You divided the sea by your might. You broke the heads of the sea monsters on the waters. You crushed the heads of Leviathan. You gave him as food for the creatures of the wilderness. You split open springs and brooks. You dried up ever-flowing streams. Yours is the day, yours also is the night. You have established the heavenly light and the sun. You have fixed all the boundaries of the earth. You have made summer and winter.
Remember this, O Lord, how the enemy scoffs, and the foolish people reviles your name. Do not deliver the soul of your dove to the wild beasts. Do not forget the life of your poor forever.
Have regard for the covenant, for the dark places of the land are full of the habitations of violence. Let not the downtrodden turn back in shame. Let the poor and needy praise your name.
Arise, O God, defend your cause. Remember how the foolish scoff at you all the day. Do not forget the clamor of your foes, the uproar of those who rise against you, which goes up continually.
Psalm 75. To the choir master, according to Do Not Destroy, a psalm of Asaph, a song. We give thanks to you, O God. We give thanks, for your name is near. We recount your wondrous deeds.
At the set time that I appoint, I will judge with equity. When the earth totters and all its inhabitants, it is I who keep steady its pillars. I say to the boastful, do not boast, and to the wicked, do not lift up your horn. Do not lift up your horn on high, or speak with haughty neck.
For not from the east or from the west, and not from the wilderness comes lifting up, but it is God who executes judgment, putting down one and lifting up another. For in the hand of the Lord there is a cup with foaming wine, well mixed, and it pours out from it, and all the wicked of the earth shall drain it down to the dregs.
But I will declare it forever. I will sing praises to the God of Jacob. All the horns of the wicked I will cut off, but the horns of the righteous shall be lifted up.
Psalm 76. To the choir master, with stringed instruments, a psalm of Asaph, a song. In Judah, God is known. His name is great in Israel. His abode has been established in Salem, his dwelling place in Zion. There he broke the flashing arrows, the shield, the sword, and the weapons of war.
Glorious are you, more majestic than the mountains, full of prey. The stout-hearted were stripped of their spoil. They sank into sleep. All the men of war were unable to use their hands. At your rebuke, O God of Jacob, both rider and horse lay stunned.
But you are to be feared. Who can stand before you when once your anger is roused? From the heavens you uttered judgment. The earth feared and was still when God arose to establish judgment, to save all the humble of the earth.
Surely the wrath of man shall praise you. The remnant of wrath you will put on like a belt. Make your vows to the Lord your God and perform them. Let all around him bring gifts to him who is to be feared, who cuts off the spirit of princes, who is to be feared by the kings of the earth. This is the word of the Lord.
Thanks be to God.
By way of quick recap, today we've read a few psalms. We began with Psalm 39, which is a psalm of David, which asks the question, what is the measure of our days? It likened mankind to the breath that is here today and gone tomorrow. Then Psalm 66, also a psalm of David, is a psalm themed after the topic of his soul waiting for God and for God alone. And then we looked at Psalm 50, a psalm of Asaph, and in it, he emphasized God as the judge. Then we went to Psalm 73, also a psalm of Asaph, in which he described God as a strength and portion forever. In Psalm 74, it's a lamentation, also a psalm of Asaph, that asks the question, how long, O God, is the enemy to revile your name forever? Then we come to Psalm 75, which is another psalm of Asaph, and it's a song of thanksgiving, and emphasizing how God exalts one person and puts down another. And finally, we looked at Psalm 66, that asks, amongst other things, the question of who can stand before the Lord. It's a psalm of Asaph as well, and that's the last of the psalms we considered. Let's go back to Psalm 39. What stood out to you?
In Psalm 39, verse 1 to 3 stood out to me in that it is instructive in not letting our distress to grow worse so much that it becomes a fire that burns inside of us. I think it's a part in Proverbs that says that there's safety in the multitude of advice. And for me personally, when things are becoming overwhelming and mounting pressure in my head, it is best for me to actually say it out in prayer as I feel, and that lessens it. So I saw this verse 1 to 3 as a reminder to not just muse the distress in my heart, letting the fire burn, but to be able to make known to God what the distress is and wait for Him to minister. Is what stood out to you?
Mine is the imagery in verses 5 and 6 about how our lifetime is like a few handbreadths. And it says towards the end of verse 5, surely all mankind stands as a mere breath. In verse 6, it says, surely for nothing they are in turmoil. Almost as though to say, all the hustling, all the stress that we go through, if we place it in the perspective of how really, really short our lives are compared to eternity, it should help us to rethink some of our priorities. Because it says in verse 6, man heaps up wealth and does not even know who will gather it. So it's such a reframing perspective kind of psalm.
In Psalm 62, verse 10, the last line stood out to me in that if riches increase, we should not set our heart on them or make them our refuge. For God alone. I like the fact that David kept saying, Him alone is our rock, not our accounts, not the jobs, not our acquired skills, not even our health or the blessings around us. It is Him alone that is our rock. Rock is something steady, something reliable. It is in Him alone that our salvation rests, and is our fortress where we seek respite. And that's what stood out to me.
For me, it's verse 6, also in that same sort of context. It says, He only is my rock and my salvation, my fortress. I shall not be shaken. And it just brings that picture of what true security looks like. It's in nothing else than in God and in God alone. And when that is where we hide, then we can be assured of true security.
Psalm 50, verse 2 and 9 stood out to me.
Okay.
The line that says, out of Zion, the perfection of beauty, God shines forth. It's just beautiful. And then verse 9, where it is said, I will not accept a bull from your house or goat from your fold, also rang to my mind in that it reminds me of the psalm we read when the psalm that says, seek God when He can be found. We should not get to a point where God is choosing not to accept a bull from our house or goats from our fold. So basically not accepting our offering, because our lives become a sacrifice for Him, to Him. And remember how that it went all quiet with Saul, but when David inquired of Him, He was speaking to David.
Yeah.
It's just quite instructive and almost fearsome for me, in that I just turned it to a prayer that I should not I should not get to a place or get so bullheaded to a place where nothing from me is acceptable to him, but to daily put my life as a sacrifice to him, a daily offering, and that should satisfy me more than anything.
For me, it's verse 21, especially the last part of that verse. It says, you thought that I was one like yourself, but now I rebuke you and lay the charge before you. Of course, from verse 19, he has given the context to that, how sometimes we just speak anyhow and think anyhow and slander other people. And then it says in verse 21, these things you've done and I have been silent. And when God is not judging us instantly, as he did with some people in times of old, we can start thinking, we're getting away with it again and again and again. And you start thinking that God is like our mate. But it says, you thought that I was one like yourself, but now I rebuke you and lay the charge before you. And the antidote he gave is in verse 23. The one who offers thanksgiving as his sacrifice glorifies me. So one who orders his way rightly, I will show the salvation of God. All that's to say, we should never lose sight of the grandeur of the greatness of God and of all that he means to us, so much so that we can't help but offering thanksgiving to him and then see salvation show up for us again and again.
In Psalm 73, verse 26 stood out to me as it's Samuel's favorite verse. And it says, my flesh and my heart may fail, but God is the strength of my heart and my portion forever. The line he knows is, God is the strength of my heart, he is mine forever. And it just reminds us again of the comfort of having God as our God, and the reliance that we place on him in spite of our circumstances. What about you?
Yeah, same actually from verse 23. When I got to 25 and I read, whom have I in heaven but you, immediately the lyrics of Don Moen's song, which is literally almost word for word with what is in 25 and 26, came to mind. But then just that wider context of, nevertheless, I am continually with you and you hold my right hand. Like, we live in the understanding that we are living in God's presence. Unlike the people that has been described in the preceding verses in this lamentation to say, they do all these bad things and yet it seems like things are going well for them. But then in verse 18, he realizes actually you've set them in slippery places. So it might look like all things are going well for the wicked now, but it's only a matter of time. Nevertheless, as far as I am concerned, verse 23, I am continually with you. I'm on your side. You are the one holding my right hand. You are the one guiding me with your counsel. Because after all, you are all that I have. My flesh and my heart may fail, but you are the strength of my heart and my portion forever.
In Psalm 74, verses 12 to 17 stood out to me in how God's power was made vivid. The comparison of how he compared summer and winter, day and night. And now he crushed the heads of Leviathan and gave this mighty monster as food to creatures of the wilderness, how he split up springs and brooks and dried up ever-flowing streams. It's a contradiction in that the streams are ever-flowing, but somehow God dried up. It just emphasizes the power and potency of God, how that with him backing us, we're okay. We're okay.
It's the same aspect that stood out to me as well. Especially in the sense that, of course, from verse 1, it's clearly a lamentation. Many questions being asked of God. And then in verse 9, it says, we do not see our signs. There is no longer any prophet. There is none among us who knows how long. And he keeps asking that question, how long, O God, is the enemy to continue to scoff? But then the answer comes from verse 12. Yet, God, my King, is from old, working salvation in the midst of the earth. As though to say, all I need actually to do is to pause and then look back to the track record of what he has done. He has divided the sea. He has broke the heads of sea monsters. He has crushed heads of Leviathan. He has split open brooks and springs. He has dried up ever-flowing streams. He has created the lights and the sun. He has fixed the boundaries of the earth. He has made summer and winter. Like when we just think of all the grandeur of the things he has done so far, it gives us that confidence, reassurance of all that he can do even in the now and in the uncertainties of our present circumstances.
In Psalm 75, verse 6 to 8 stood out to me. How that our lifting up does not come from anywhere or anyone, but from God alone. How about you?
Same verse. I highlighted 6 and 7 for that same very same point that you have made. Psalm 76. What stood out to you?
Verse 3. How that God broke the weapons of war. And this reminded me of Jesus' sentence, it is finished. Even right now, when the things to do are repeating on my head, and it's almost making me panic. Just reading that God has broken the weapons of war calmed me, like, okay, I'll just take it one day at a time, one step at a time. And what cannot be done today will be done tomorrow. Now, what about you? What stood out to you?
Same. I chose 1 to 3, not just verse 3. But then I thought actually to bring it all together vis-a-vis where we are in the story. So in the story, we've come to this point, both in 2 Samuel and in 1 Chronicles, where the David had successfully brought back the Ark of Covenant to the city of David. And I had to do a bit of study and research on this, because then I was asking myself, what happened to the previous tent? Because we knew that in the wilderness, a tabernacle was built that was a mobile tabernacle. And now we are seeing David bring this ark into a tent that he made, and then appointing all these musicians and worship leaders and all that. And I'm asking, where is the former tent, as it were, that they had before then? And I saw that we're still actually going to see it as we go on in 2 Samuel. But the point is, it's still operational. It's in Gibeon. It's still functional. But now they've taken the Ark of Covenant away from that structure. All that is going on there is just the daily sacrifices and things that needs to happen for people that want to make atonement and things like that. But now the Ark of Covenant is in a separate tent that David made in Jerusalem. And it's in that context that the Asaph people came up. So many of these songs that we are reading today, they are Psalms of Asaph, Psalms of Asaph. It's like these are part of the worship songs that, those who are worshiping in Jerusalem are doing. So in Jerusalem, there is no sacrifices being made because the altar is not there. It's almost like the worship of God has now been split into two kinds of worship. There is all the sacrifices going on in one location. Then there is just the music and the singing and the daily expression of praise that is going on in this other location in Jerusalem. And many of these psalms are coming out of that daily worship experiences. Of course, in Solomon's time, then everything is going to come back together again in the physical temple that will be built. And so, just knowing that context helps me to even appreciate these psalms the more as, okay, so these are the kind of songs that they would sing, and you can see all those heading to the choir master, to this, with stringed instruments and things like that, because these are the songs of worship that these gifted musicians and choir would sing to God on a daily basis, morning and evening, blessing the Lord with all these kinds of genres of music.
True. Thank you.
You're welcome. So thanks for joining us for day 99. Tomorrow we enter a centenary of episodes as we read for day 100. Psalms 77, 78, and 79. But till then, just remember,
you're not alone
today.
God bless you.